How you doing? I'm Big D. Welcome to the show. Hope you're having an amazing New Year's weekend. So happy New Year's. I hope it went well and you were safe. We're going to talk about some of the things that actually might put money in your pocket. This is from multiple people that I've researched, and I think it's very interesting and something that you may be able to use yourself. But before we get into this, you need to be a part of this community. So subscribe, hit the notifications, hit the bell so you get them all. And let's start talking about this. I'm going to give you, say, 5 rules. And I hope you stick around for all of them. Unglamorous rules that will make you some money. Some people have become rich because of these things. Actually rich, not fake rich, such as, well, you're rich, but if you inherited the money. So maybe paying attention. I'm not going to sugarcoat any of this. It does sometimes cause you to do some hard work. I am trying to implement them myself. Rule number 1, and this is the one that nobody wants to hear: stop spending money on things you don't need. Look at your bank statement right now. Go ahead, pull it out. You can probably get it on your phone. Coffee every morning, $10. Lunch going out, $20. Subscriptions to services you forgot you even have, another couple $100. Do you even use your Amazon account? Do you use all of your services? Have you looked at your cable bills and your phone bill? Do you need all of that to do what you need to do? You know what all of that is. That's your retirement. That's your financial freedom. You're throwing it away on things that don't matter. You could actually be taking those things and putting into silver. Very simple. Right now, it's very costly to some people, thinking that one little piece of silver is going to cost you 70, $80, maybe more, depending on the premiums. Let me explain something. Every dollar you spend today is a dollar that can't work for you tomorrow. When you buy that fancy coffee, when you could have brewed it at home, you could have bought the Dunkin' Donuts coffee, kept it in your refrigerator or wherever you want to keep it, and make your own coffee and bring a whole keg to work instead of that triple extra large mocha, whatever. You could do it at home. It's just crazy in my opinion. Now, over 10 years, say it was only $5 for that cup of coffee. Over 20 years, it could be $30. Over a lifetime, that one cup of coffee is worth hundreds of dollars, and you're buying one every single day. That's not a treat. It's convenience. That is all. You can brew that same thing at home. Now, that's financial suicide. Now, I know that you're thinking, I work hard. I deserve it. I deserve to enjoy my life. You're right. You do work hard, but here's the thing: enjoying your life doesn't mean being stupid with your money. You can enjoy life and still be smart. Make your coffee at home. It takes 5 minutes. It probably takes nothing out of your time if you set it the night before. Bring your lunch to work. Use your leftovers. Many people do it just because you don't think it's, People are gonna look down on you. Oh no, that's terrible. That could save you thousands of dollars a year. Cancel the subscriptions that you finally find out that you have. It shouldn't take you long to figure it out. Look at your bank statement, see where your money's going. Could save you thousands there as well. These are definitely not sacrifices. These are smart decisions. Myself, I've started with nothing. I've done pretty good with silver and crypto. Myself, I had absolutely nothing. I had parents that died at a very young age. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not asking for that. But I figured it out. Took me a little bit, but I bought my first home probably about 20 years old. Some people might not consider it a home. It was a trailer in a trailer park. Yes. But it was something I paid for, paid my lot rent. After a while, I bought a better one, saved up most of the money, used the trade in. I didn't spend a lot of money on it, on that brand new one. The trade in I fixed up a little bit, or the one I used for a trade in, I fixed up over time, and it quadrupled. And the amount of money I put into it was very minimal because I did most of the work myself. I learned very early that every dollar matters. I started my grown-up life at $5 an hour driving tractor trailer. I know, it sounds like how'd you do anything? I know, exactly. But I was very strict. Even back then, I knew something happens to me, I get injured. How am I going to take care of myself and my family? I only had a wife at the time. But when I was building my first pile of wealth, it wasn't a very big pile, so don't think I did anything crazy. Didn't start buying silver for a long time. Didn't buy crypto for a long time, but I did finally purchase my own first home. That was 1997. I think I was still quite young, but if I paid it more attention, didn't be okay with the job I had, $5.50 an hour. Went from $5 to $5.50 an hour in about 3 years. It's crazy. It's not. I should have been looking at my future early and moved on. Found another job paying more. But even when I did look for other jobs, they would ask me, "What are you making an hour?" And obviously, I got to be honest. Following God is it's been a part of my life for most of my life. So when I was really young, 15, 16, I was not a good person. But I turned to Jesus, and that helped me. I do believe that. By doing that, I still had to be honest. I tell them what I'm making. They're like, "Well, I'll give you that. How many?" I'm like, "No." So you stick up for yourself. I want $2 more an hour before I leave a position that I already have vacation time and things like that and benefits already set up. No, I got to have more. Okay, how about 6? No. How about $10 an hour, which I know I'm well worth it. And if you don't like what you see, you can move on from me. Let's do that. No, I can't do that. Okay. If you change your mind, you see what I've done. This is what I can do for you. I'm a hard worker. I'm here every day. I don't take sick days. And if I do take a vacation, it's 1 or 2 days here and there. So wasn't that long after that before I received a phone call. I finally was making almost double what I was making. You got to look out for yourself, but do not lie about it. There's ways around it. I don't go out to fancy dinners. Maybe once in a while, I will go out to a steakhouse, but I will save my money and do it that way. Not use a credit card. It's going to cost me interest rate on top. Sometimes it was ridiculous, 25%. Especially if you don't have decent credit. And I'm not saying I have perfect credit, but if you don't have decent credit, they're going to be 30 or maybe even higher percent. And that's compiled daily. You have to understand that as well. So using a credit card was just not the way to go for me. When you think about all the money that you can be saving, well, I want to live now. I don't want to. Well, do you want to live when you and live a comfortable life when you go to retire? Maybe you should think about that. Or if the older you get and something happens, God forbid, that you get injured at work or you have a medical issue that is going to take you out of work for a while or the rest of your life, you need to prepare. Don't try to use your money to look successful. Save every penny that you can without getting crazy. Facebook is one of the providers of ambition, I think. It causes others to want to do what others are doing. Going out, partying every night, going out to dinner every night. I have friends that probably could have retired 10 times over by now. They make good money, don't get me wrong. But what's going to happen? Something happens to their income coming in. It's going to be a huge setback for them. Maybe at that time, they will learn. Well, and discipline, and definitely discipline is boring because you don't get to do the things you want to do. You don't get to do the 10 to 14 day vacations and, the high end hotels, the best of the best. I mean, when I go out on a vacation, it's going to be a rental car that's minimal. It's not going to be something I can't fit in because I'm going to need something halfway decent size. But it's going to be inexpensive. It's going to be from a reputable company. But moving on from that, people who get rich are not the people who make the most money. They're the people who keep the most money, my opinion. And you can't keep money if you're spending it on nonsense. Here's a suggestion. Track every single dollar you spend for the next 30 days. Every coffee, every lunch, the impulse purchase, write it down. At the end of the month, add it up. And I guarantee you're going to be shocked. You're going to see hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars that you wasted on things you don't even remember buying. And that's when it's going to click, I hope. That's when you're not going to realize that you've been sabotaging yourself this whole time. The wealthy they understand something that poor people don't. They understand that money is a tool. It's not for spending, it's for rebuilding or building. In some people's case, it's going to be rebuilding. Every dollar you earn should have a job. It should either be paying for something you absolutely need, or it should be making more money. Such as if you have a 401k, put a chunk into that every week. You don't even see it. And after a while, you don't notice it's less than what your paycheck used to be. Speak with a financial advisor before doing that so you know which way to invest your money with that 401k. Now, if your money isn't doing anything for you, you're doing it wrong. And most people are doing it wrong because they go, I know how to do this, when they could be earning huge money, maybe 10, 12, 15% on top of what they're actually putting in. And don't forget, a lot of companies that maybe you even work for, they give you and they match up to a certain percentage. That's free money. And if you are fully vested with that company, that's your money. If something ever happens, that stays in your account. Again, see my disclaimer in the description below, because I am not a financial guy, but I have led my life because of others that have taught me well. Now they're letting their money sit in a checking account, earning nothing. They're spending it on things that lose value the second they buy them. They're basically taking their future and setting it on fire. I see people around in cars that they can't afford. I mean, they're beautiful cars, don't get me wrong. Trucks, sport utilities. My last vehicle, I mean, I'm not looking for anybody to be worrying about me, but my car is about 8 years old, has 150,000 miles on it, has an exhaust leak. I'm about ready to do brakes because it takes more pressure to stop. I want to be safe. My tires, probably in 6 months to a year, are going to have to be replaced. You keep it up, and if you can do the work yourself, like I can, it's going to benefit you in the long run. But that car, 4.5, 5 years ago, it'll be 5 years at the end of this month. It cost me $11,000, and it's a sport utility, all-wheel drive, to Kia. Who cares? I am not looking to impress anybody but myself. That's just my way. So let's move on to more information. Wearing clothes with designer labels just to impress people they don't even like. They probably barely even hang out with them. Other than that, they don't make a phone call to them, see how you're doing. If they hear if they were sick, maybe they do. And you know what? Those people are going to be broke for the rest of their lives unless they make a huge amount of money. Because they're playing the game they can't win. They're trying to get rich and look rich while doing it. Instead, they're just looking rich instead of being rich. And there's a huge difference. Looking rich is easy. You just spend all your money, bang out your credit cards. Being rich is hard. You have to save your money, invest your money, and wait. Nobody wants to wait. Everybody wants it now. But that's not how wealth works. Wealth is built slower, very slow sometimes, over time, with consistence, boring decisions. It's built by saying no when everyone else is saying yes. It's built by staying home, being a homebody, maybe going out once in a while so you can, see your friends, your family. Maybe use your holidays as the times to see your family and spend a little bit of money on Christmas gifts. The bigger and the more expensive the gift is, does not mean they're going to like it anymore. They're probably not going to give a crap anyways. My apologies for my language. Coming from experience. It's built by driving the old car for another few years while everyone else is leasing new ones. A lease is pretty good. It's better than buying because you can sometimes get a very small payment, but I still would rather have an older car. One that still isn't rotted out, doesn't have too many issues. In my state, New York, you got to pass inspection, so you want to be safe. Now, it's built by discipline. When discipline is the last thing you want to do, and I know that doesn't sound fun. I know that sounds like a terrible way to live. But you know what's really terrible? Being 70 years old, broke, being unable to retire, being dependent on Social Security and hoping your kids will take care of you. That's terrible. Spending a few dollars less today so you can have millions tomorrow. That's not terrible. You can pay for someone to take care of you. My worst fear, one of my worst fears, is not being able to get out of bed and one of your family members has to take care of you, if you know what I mean. Taking care of you, yes. Your bedpans. That's not something that I want my family to remember me by. So paying for someone that you're just going to see them until you probably pass, and your family's not going to remember how they had to take care of you. So rule number 1 is simple. Stop spending more money on garbage. Cut the waste. Be ruthless. Every time you're about to buy something, ask yourself, do I really need this or do I just want it? And if the answer is you just want it, don't buy it. But if it's a roof that's on your home, not only can you have the money to do that, you don't have to take a loan out. You really should get several estimates and make sure you know what you're talking about when you're getting an estimate. I'll give you a for instance. Ice and water shield. An average homeowner doesn't know anything about that. So definitely research it. Go onto YouTube and figure it out. What goes into a roof to make it a good roof? And make sure it's on your estimate. And maybe take that day off and watch them. Make sure they're doing what they tell you they're going to do. I learned the hard way. I was told someone was going to put a ridge vent. You should look into that if you're going to get a roof. Come to find out, I get home that day after the roof is done, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what a ridge vent looks like. And I look up there, and it's laying flat. They're like, oh no, we did it. It's up there. It's a low profile. So I go in my attic, and I could see the bottom of shingles. So I gave him a call, and I said, hey, you wanted your payment. You're going to fix my roof before I pay you, or you're not getting another penny. And I still owe them a few $1,000. Yeah, they came right back. And I said, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to go on my roof and I'm going to inspect the whole roof now. Because I went to my attic and I noticed you didn't put all those panels on that you stated you were going to, because I needed new roof panels, 4x8 sheets of plywood that you said, and I think you're going to need to go and take care of that before you get paid as well. So definitely putting money aside, save it, invest it, let it grow, because that's what rich people do. They do spend a little more, and you might think they're spending a ton of money, but they're spending in their minimum. Not all, but a lot of the people I know, they do not spend extravagant. I don't mean owners of businesses and stuff that, might make $500,000 a year. I'm talking about ones that own multiple businesses and that are very successful. We're living like some of my friends who have jobs and live off credit cards and debt. They don't buy things they want until they absolutely need it. They buy things they need and they invest the rest. Over time, those investments grow into real wealth. The kind of wealth that gives you freedom. The kind of wealth that seems you never have to worry about when you, or money again. Now, some of you are sitting there thinking, I don't make enough money to save anything. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. And I definitely hear you. But here's the truth. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's because you're spending every dollar you make. And if you're spending every dollar you make, you need to spend less. Go back and see what we talked about in the very beginning, because do we need the best cable? Do we need the best phones? Do we need the best cars? That's what we're talking about. I don't care how little you make. You can always find something to cut. You can always find 5, 10, 20 bucks a month. And those dollars add up. Cut back on the high-end cable and internet that you have, and maybe cut back a little bit on, is it a gigabyte of RAM your internet? Maybe you can do it half a gig. Maybe you can spend 20, 30 bucks less a month on something like that. Those they compound and they start showing more and more in your bank account. You're not paying everything out every month. You're not paycheck to paycheck any longer after you do a few of these things. But one thing you have to do is stop lying to yourself and start. You have to make the decision today that you're not going to live like this anymore. The first rule is the foundation. Everything else is going to tell you build on this, because if you can't control your spending, nothing else matters. You can have the best investment strategy in the world, but if you spend everything you make, you'll never have anything to invest. To get this right, first, master this boring, simple, unglamorous rule. Stop spending money on garbage. Your future self will thank you. Now that you understand rule number 1, now that's you've been committed to cutting the waste and stop the bleeding. You can talk about rule number 2 with me. And that one is going to make some of you very uncomfortable. Rule number 2 is pay yourself first. And I don't mean treat yourself to a shopping spree. Get paid before you pay your rent, before you pay your bills, before you do anything else. Take a percentage of that money and put it away. You invest it and you never touch it. Most people do it backwards. When I say invest, I'm looking at something that is not going to be, if it goes down, it's almost guaranteed to go back up. There's no guarantees, but what comes to my mind is silver. Ever since I started with silver, it has dipped, but that's when I buy more. I buy the dip, it goes back up. And then when it goes up, it's a good chance it's going to be higher than it was before it dipped. My opinion. Okay? But that is one that I do recommend. Again, I'm not a financial guru. I'm not a financial advisor. Please see my disclaimer in the description below. So, most people do it backwards. They get their paycheck, they pay all their bills, they spend money on whatever they want, and then if there's anything left over, maybe they save it. But usually there's never anything left over, because they say, wow, I gotta make sure I got gas money and coffee money and food for the week, because I'm too lazy to prepare my own food for the week, and that kind of thing. That's the problem. There's always another expense, another emergency. Another reason why you can't save this money. Even if you save the money for an emergency purpose, a flat tire, you got to buy a couple of tires. Your brakes are now metal to metal. You can fix that. You got to prepare. Another reason why you can't save this money. And months turn into years, years turn into decades, and you never build any wealth. You're always broke because you're prioritizing everything else over your own financial future. I learned this lesson the hard way. And I told you about that in the beginning. I was making decent money. I'm making decent money. And even before I was making decent money, I knew something had to happen. I looked at my future thinking, what the heck am I going to do if something happens? And guess what? I got old. Ended up in the hospital for a week. New medications. Taking care of myself has put me back on track. They still don't know what caused it, but I'm moving forward. And I still have to think about my family as well if something happens to me. So here's what I want you to do. Start with your next paycheck. Take 10% off the top immediately. If you make $3,000 a month, that's $300. You make $5,000 a month, that's $500. I don't care what you make. Take 10% and put it somewhere you can easily access it safely. Make sure it's in a safe spot. One of the best places in the past has been in a separate savings account so you don't see it. Maybe set it up with your employer so it comes out immediately. Open an investment account. I don't care where you put it. Just make sure it's not in your checking account where you'll be tempted to spend it. And then forget about it. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Don't let it sit there and grow and then go, wow, hey, I got all this money. I can go and buy that new boat, put a down payment on the boat. No, don't do it. Some of you are panicking right now. You're thinking, I can't afford 10%. I'm barely making it as is. Again, go back and listen to what I was talking about in the very beginning. You got to have some things you can cut and be okay with. You got to have some things you can cut and maybe not be so okay with. But you got to do it if you want a future when you're older and not have to worry about, boy, I'm not feeling good today. Well, I better go to work because I don't have any time that I got to get paid. That day is coming. If you can't live on 90% of your income, then you're living beyond your means. And you need to cut back. Find a way. Go back to rule number 1. Stop spending money on garbage. Cancel subscriptions, even for a year. Do you need cable? Are there other ways you can just stream what you want to do? Do you live on your phone anyways? Maybe cutting TV altogether. Do you need that high-speed internet? Maybe you can use your phone and use the internet off of that. You know what I'm saying. Definitely start today. Bring your lunch tomorrow. Today is a Sunday. Bring your lunch to work for this week. See how much money you can save just by doing that. Find the money because this is a non-negotiable. If you want to be rich, if you want to have decent money in your pocket, if you have to pay yourself first, period. The reason that rule is so powerful is because it forces you to prioritize your future. When you pay yourself first, you're saying that your financial security means more than that new phone, more than those concert tickets, more than eating out 3 times a week or more. I mean, I know people that are eating out every day at lunch, eating out every night. They don't cook anything themselves. Maybe because it's horrible food. I don't know. Learn how to cook. Build wealth is more important than immediate gratification. And maybe you'll lose some weight. That's what I did. Repeat this over and over. It was created financial freedom. Let me tell you something. The amount doesn't even matter that much in the beginning. What matters is the habit. If you can only save 5% right now, 5%. Okay, how about 2.5% for a month? And then move it up a little bit. Maybe you still don't see it coming out when you go from 2.5% to 5%, and then get to the 10%. Maybe do that so you don't see it coming out. Like you're paid weekly. Your take home is all $1,500 a month. Then start to go up a little bit. After you don't see it, maybe it's going to be easier to handle. The important thing is that you do it consistently every single time. Every single paycheck. Without fail. Because once you build the habit, once paying yourself becomes automatic, you can increase it 5, 10, 15%, 20% as you get rid of some of those dead things that don't even really mean anything to you. You'll find out that I don't even need cable. Everything on my phone that I can get to, or a tablet. You go to a Wi-Fi zone and pick up the Wi-Fi there. Or there's always ways. You can't always use your excuses. Rule number 3. And this is where it gets really boring. It eliminates your debt. All of it. From what I understand it. Hasn't eliminated mine yet, but I'm working on it. I don't care if it's credit cards, student loans, car loans, personal loans. Get rid of it. If you can buy a car with cash by doing this savings, someone that doesn't make a lot of money, I would say that's not going to work too well. Like myself, because that means the amount of money I've saved starts dwindling down. I got to have a certain amount in there for me to be comfortable that I'm going to be taking care of myself and my family if something happens. Now, debt is stealing from your future. Every dollar you pay in, every interest is a dollar that could be working for you instead of working for the bank. And most people are drowning in debt. They've got credit cards maxed out, at least 20% interest. You got car loans, 8%, maybe a little bit better. You never know. They're making minimum payments and wondering why they never get ahead. And the answer is simple. You can't get ahead when you're being dragged backwards by debt. Here's a thought. Make a list of every single debt you have. Write it down, the balance. Write down the interest rate. Write down the minimum payment. Then rank them from highest interest rate to the lowest interest rate. And you attack the highest interest rate debt first. You pay the minimum on everything else, but you throw extra dollars that you can into the highest rate debt that you have until it's gone. This is just something that I've done, and it worked for me. Then you move to the next one, and the next one, and next one until they're all gone. Stop using those credit cards. This is called the avalanche method, and it's the fastest way to get out of debt because you're minimizing the amount of interest you pay. Now, I know some financial gurus tell you pay off all the smallest debt first. So you feel good about quick wins. Maybe pick your highest one and one of the lowest ones. Maybe do both. That's called the snowball method, doing it the other way around from the first, doing the highest interest and then picking the smallest one with the smallest amount. So you can mix them up a little bit, maybe, and maybe that'll work for you. And you know what? That's fine if you need a psychological boost in these early wins. But mathematically, the avalanche method saves you more money. Higher interest rates, you're paying it off quicker without paying the minimum. And I'm all about saving money. So if you can handle it, do the avalanche method. Pay off the highest interest rate for credits first. Get rid of that credit card that's charging you 22%. That's insane. That's highway robbery, by the way, my opinion. And you're letting them rob you every single month while you're paying off debt. You need to stop creating new debt. Cut your credit cards up if you pay them off. I'm serious. If you can't control yourself, if you keep spending money you don't have, cut them up. Use cash that you've been saving. But stop borrowing. Every time you use a credit card and don't pay it off in full at the end of the month, you're making yourself poorer. You're literally paying extra for everything you buy. That $50 dinner becomes $60 with interest. Those $100 shoes are now $120. It's stupid. Stop. Stop doing it. I see people all the time who think they're being smart by using credit cards for points on cash back. Yeah, if you pay off your balance in full every single month, that's fine. That's actually smart. I know some people are very smart. They use the credit card that makes them cash back, pay for groceries and gas, and at the end of the month, they pay it off. They get free cash. That's smart. Take that money and put it into other debt. Most people carry a balance and pay interest that completely wipes out any rewards they're getting. And that's what they're hoping for, these credit card companies. So success, sorry, my bad. So unless you have the discipline to pay it off every month, you shouldn't be using your credit cards at all. They're a trap. They're designed to make you feel like you have more money than you do. And the credit card companies make billions of dollars off people who fall for it. Getting out of debt, that is just definitely not sexy. And it's not exciting. You're not going to post about it on social media, but it's one of the most important things you can do for your financial future. Because once you're debt free, all of that money was going into payments can go to build your wealth now. Imagine how much faster you could save if you weren't paying $500 a month in debt payments. And imagine what you could do with that money. You could invest it. You could build an emergency fund. You could start a business. But you can't do any of that if you're stuck in debt. And let's make this very clear about something. I'm not anti-debt in all situations. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt is debt that helps you build wealth. A mortgage on a house that's going to appreciate in value. That can be a good debt if you do it right. Student loan for a degree that's going to increase your earning power. That can be a good debt if you pick the right degree and don't borrow too much. But credit cards, car loans for cars you can't afford, but you have to have personal loans for vacations that are bad debt. That's the debt that's killing you. And that's the debt you need to eliminate as fast as possible. Rule number 4 is building an emergency fund. And this is the rule that saves you from going back into debt. Because here's what happens to most people: they work hard, they pay off the debt, they're finally free, and then something happens. The car breaks down, the roof starts leaking, they lose their job. And because they have no emergency fund, they have to put everything on credit card. And just like that, they're back in debt. All that work, all that sacrifice wasn't because they didn't prepare for individual and the possibility of something happening. Life is going to throw problems at you. That's guaranteed. You can't avoid it. What you can do is prepare for it. You can build a cushion so that when something goes wrong, and it will go wrong, you can handle it without destroying your finances. That cushion is an emergency fund, and every single person needs one. I don't care how much you make. I don't care how stable your job is. You need an emergency fund. Here's the target. You need to have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in cash. Not invested in stocks, not tied up in real estate. Cash money you can access immediately if you need it. So if your monthly expenses are $3,000, say, you need $9,000 to $18,000 in your emergency fund. It sounds like a lot of money, yes. But if your monthly expenses are $5,000, you'll need $15,000 to $30,000. And yes, I know it's a lot of money, but it's not optional. If you want to be prepared, you never know what could happen. Because remember, unemployment is nothing. They pay you nothing. This will protect you from disaster. Now, you don't have to build it all at once. If you're young, you got plenty of time, hopefully. But you never know with all these cancers popping up out of nowhere. Have you seen all the advertisements for prescriptions? Some of the things that are happening to this country are not happening to other countries. We won't get into that, but it is amazing of what is going on with our lives, our families. Now let's get a first goal. Get $1,000 in the emergency fund as fast as possible. Work overtime. Sell stuff you don't need. All that stuff you bought, it's worth something still. Do something with that. Do whatever it takes, because $1,000 is going to save you the next time something goes wrong. It's going to keep you from putting it on a credit card. And once you have $1,000, you keep going. You build it up to 1 month of expenses, then 2 months, 3 months. Keep it going. You'll feel proud of yourself. The emergency fund is boring. It just sits there. It's not growing much because you need it to be liquid and safe for those emergencies. Important parts of your financial plan, because it gives you security. It gives you peace of mind. It means you can sleep at night knowing that if something happens, you'll be okay. And that peace of mind is worth more than an investment return. Any investment return. Remember, now rule number 5 is the one that actually makes you rich. Possibly. Everything else I have told you so far, that's all preparation. That's getting your financial house in order. But this rule, this is where the magic happens. Rule number 5 is invest consistently and let compound interest do the work. And I'm telling you right now, this is the most boring, most powerful wealth building tool in existence. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. You're not going to get rich overnight. But if you do this right, if you stay disciplined and give it time, you could become wealthy. I'm working on it myself. That's not a maybe. That's a guarantee. Here's how it works. You take 10% of your you're paying yourself first, and you invest it in every single month like clockwork. You invest. You don't try to time the market. You don't wait for a perfect moment. You stop panic when the market goes down. Stop. Don't. It's going to go down. It's the way it works. You just invest month after month, year after year, decade after decade in compound interest. The eighth wonder of the world does the rest. Your money makes money. And that's what makes money. And then the money makes money, and it grows exponentially in a way that most people can't even comprehend until they see it happen. This is an example. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25, you get an average return of 8% per year, which is very realistic. For a diversified portfolio, by the time you're 65, you'll have over $1.7 million. Let me say that again. $1.7 million. You only put in $240,000 of your own money. And I can tell you, doing something similar to this with a 401k has made some decent money for many people I know. It has been very helpful to sleep at night. I can tell you that. Now, that's the power of starting early and staying consistent. But here's the thing that kills me. Most people don't start at 25. They wait until 35, 40, 45 because they think they have time. You don't have time. And then they wake up one day and realize they're behind. Investing that same $500 a month, you might have 500,000. Is that going to be enough with your Social Security? I don't know. It's hard to say what's going to happen with the inflation in our future. If you look at what's going on right now, I'd say no. Now that's why I'm passionate about getting people to start now. Today, not tomorrow, not next month, not next year, now. And I don't care if you can only invest $50 a month right now. Remember, some 401ks, because of the companies they work for, the companies match. Remember that. Investing isn't for everybody. But if you use a 401k and you spread it out into the ones that are making money, and also the ones that are the top, say, 5 in the world. I'll give you for instance, Google, Coca-Cola, they're the tops. The McDonald's, those are the tops. They usually do this. They don't go. So, even keel, you're still making money, but you're still possible of seeing some pretty decent gains. And again, read my disclaimer, please, because I'm just going off of what has worked for me. I've always been risky. So my investments with my 401ks have gone up and a little bit down, up, a little bit down, and it keeps going up. 12, 15%. I'll give you, for instance, since the beginning of this year, new presidency, it has increased like I have never considered before. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for sitting through this. And if you like what you've seen, I'm going to have more on silver, on crypto, on multiple things that might interest you. A lot of them are my own experiences. Try to have a great rest of your day. God bless. Be safe. Have a great rest of your day. Bye now.